action. We simply must ensure that young people, tomorrow's future, are supported to become confident members of society and not a statistic that keeps them glued to their roots of vulnerability and disadvantage. For this, I'm sure we all agree. This webinar is an interactive format, and you're encouraged to send in through Q&A questions via Zoom. And please note that the questions, we'll take them up until 12 noon today. So a little bit about the format today. After our initial introductions, we'll move to the author of the report, Dr. Joseph McDowell, who present the report findings via a PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll have a panel discussion with young people who are young consultants at Create Foundation. And then we'll host the Q&A session towards the end. So I'd like to introduce our panel members and firstly welcome our panelists to our first ever live launch via Zoom. So this has been a technical world that we're not familiar with, and today we've had a few hiccups getting here, but we're all good now, so here we go. So I'd like to introduce you to Emily. Emily is a young woman from New South Wales who's been engaged with Create for about 5 years. Emily's currently 22 and lives with her nana and her child. And Emily has had incredible challenges, including mental health, homelessness, and issues with drugs and alcohol. She's a remarkable young woman whose courage and determination to overcome the barriers placed in front of her is truly inspiring. Emily's a proactive advocate and entrepreneur and selflessly gives of her time to assist the sector to improve the system to help young care leavers. Emily will be speaking today about the impact of the transition process on her mental health. So the second young person I'd like you to welcome is Andre. And Andre joins us from WA, and Andre has made it very clear to me that it's not 11 a.m. in WA, it's actually 9 a.m. and he's here with us bright and early. So Andre identifies as Indigenous, and Andre's mob are Murray from Queensland. Andre is a young person who's been engaged with Create for a number of years and he's 25 now. Andre is a remarkably resilient young man and has overcome many obstacles to achieve his goals. Andre suffered setbacks to completing his education due to issues around stable housing and has first-hand experience of the impact of this on his post-care experience and on his life in general. Andre will be focusing his comments around homelessness. And lastly, but not least, is Adina. Adina joins us from Queensland and she's been engaged with Create since she was 15 years old. Adina is a success story in out-of-home care terms and has had a very supportive pathway through the transition process and has a double degree, tertiary qualifications, and a great job. Adina will be speaking today about the importance of education and how she achieved great outcomes despite the many challenges facing young care leavers today. Yeah. So you can see from our panel, we have a depth of experience with widely different types of experience